Right, let's continue with some of the basics of installing software, installing applications in here. I'm going to try and make this a little bigger. Maybe it's hard to see. So, as you may already know, macOS is a transactional system, so it uses transactional updates. It's very atomic in the nature. Basically, what happens here is that you can just simply install packages. So, for example, if I try zypper install, I don't know, Midnight Commander, I give it my super secure password, it's mounted as read-only. So I'm not going to be able to install applications. Chances are high that it just wouldn't work either. The OP application is not supported at all. It's just a lot of things are not working the way you would expect it from using systems, traditional systems like Tumbleweed or Leap. So instead, you are encouraged to use transactional updates or tukit, which is pretty much a wrapper around it, and to use Flatpaks. So Flatpaks are basically containerized applications, like a Docker container or Podman container. It doesn't really matter. But the difference is that it's designed for desktop applications, and it's really, really good at it. So basically, in a transactional system, you really don't want to clutter the system with RPM packages. So if you get used to installing, I don't know, different browsers, different applications from the official repositories, although you can do it, but you are highly discouraged from doing so. Instead, if you can replace your applications with Flatpaks, with their Flatpak version, or you have something that's called toolbox. Toolbox is very interesting. It's a wraparound Podman. Podman is a container runtime. You can launch and manage different container applications. It's basically the same thing like using Docker. Difference is that this works better and it's out of the box available. Toolbox is basically creating a container that you can run and install applications to it in it. But in the meanwhile, you're also able to access the rest of your systems from it, at least your home. So we're going to take a look at that. First of all, let's see how do we update this system. So what I'm going to do is say sudo tukit, and I'm going to say execute zypper refresh. So basically, tukit is the application that is being used to update, to run different commands that you would normally run on Tumbleweed or any kind of read-write systems. So the difference is that tukit is going to do this on a new snapshot. So if we list out all of our snapshots, you will see that we already have 3 here. So this is basically after the installation, and this is after we did a zypper refresh. So this is obviously not ideal. So what you can do is, you can execute a shell. So now I'm in tukit, and as you can see, it uses snapshot 1 as the base, and this will be snapshot 4 when we exit out of it. So what I'm going to do is say zypper refresh. Right, it's going to take care of everything, pretty much done already. And then I'm going to say zypper dump. Right, nothing to do, we are up to date, that's awesome. So after this, let's say I would like to install applications. I'm going to install Midnight Commander. There we go. It is installing Midnight Commander. Awesome, very good. So if I launch Midnight Commander, it's here. I can access a couple of things. Let's go to my home. Oh, okay, that's curious. So basically, when you are using transactional update shells, you're not going to have access to your home. Reasons for that is that it's not being taken snapshots of. It's completely read-write folder. So you're not going to be able to manage this from here. So this is a system snapshot. It doesn't bother about subvolumes that are not being taken care of by the systems or handled by the system. Home is an entirely separate subvolume, and it's outside of the snapshotted configurations. So what we're going to do, we're going to quit from here. We're going to exit from here as well. All right, great. So let's launch Midnight Commander. Yeah, it's not existing. Reason for that, if I list out the snapshots again, is Midnight Commander is here, while we are somewhere here. So we are still very much on the first snapshot, and we are just starting to build our systems. So as an immutable system, after you're installing a package, it's not going to be usable right away. And as you can see inside a transactional update shell, you're still going to have limitations such as accessing your home. So you are heavily discouraged from using transactional update shells as your day-to-day shell, just like we're not using Tumbleweed or Leap or any other distributions as root on the daily basis. So you really need to keep these things in mind. So what happened here is that it took the first snapshot as the base. It created a new snapshot for whatever we're going to do inside that container, and it started to install things onto that new snapshot. So if we make a status on 1 to 4, you can see that there has been a couple of things changing, like installing Midnight Commander. So there is quite a lot of stuff here. fstop has been changed, libexec has been changed. So this is all because we installed Midnight Commander, which is taking up quite some space. So now for me to be able to use Midnight Commander as the user outside of a transactional update shell, what I need to do is just restart the machine. So I'm going to go for a restart. I'm not going to pause it, apologies. I'm going to boot from hard disk, and let's see the snapshots here. So you can see that there has been a couple of activities happening here. So in this condition, you would be able to just boot into a snapshot in case you run into problems with the system. Boot into it, roll it back, and you are good to go until you figure out what went wrong. So this is our third boot, actually, or second, probably. Probably second, based on the number of snapshots. It was a second. So this was a lot faster already than the first boot time of macOS, and this is happening a little bit faster as well. So let's bring this up a bit, close enough. Okay, so now I'm going to have Midnight Commander available. So this is how this really works. So when you are installing applications with transactional updates, it's going to create a new snapshot, do everything over there, whatever you ask it to do, and when you exit it, it just saves it, right? So when you reboot it, then that's the time when you're actually going to boot into this new snapshot, which is created with the applications and the changes what you essentially introduced. So Okay, let's see another example. So I would like to install tukit execute zypper install, for example, tmax. Okay, so I'm going to use my password, and here we go. It's going to install tmax. Great. Oh, but I forgot that I also would like to install Ranger. So I forgot to put it here in the list. So how do I do that? Well, I could say like this, but why? I just need Ranger, right? I just installed tmax. So I'm just going to install Ranger, which is great. Okay, yes. And of course, we're not going to have Ranger available, neither tmax. We need to reboot here. Opa. Just like that. Put from hard disk. Yes. Future seconds. Yay. So, back into the system. We're going to get our terminal back. There we go. And let's see, Ranger. Yep, fair enough. We have Ranger. Well, everything is empty. It's a brand new system. All right, and the other thing was tmax. Tmax is not found. So the reason for this, that as mentioned previously, each transactional update command essentially is going to create a new snapshot. So if I want tmax, I'm going to install tmax, but then if I forget to reboot or anything I forget to add to it, and I add after all, that's going to create this problem where I have this new snapshot here with, in this case, tmax installed, but I forget to install Ranger, so I'm going to install it now, and then I reboot, right? Well, that's not how it works, because all of a sudden this snapshot where I have tmax is out, it's done, and the new snapshot is going to be where I install Ranger. So if we list out the snapshots, then this might give a fairly good idea. So let's do sudo snapper status 6 to 7. So here we can see a couple of things with a negative symbol. So that means that it has been removed, which is correct. tmax has been removed. So if you take a look, for example, user bin tmax has been removed. However, you start to see all this different Python stuff start to appear with a plus sign that it has been added. So it took, which snapshot was that? It took snapshot number 4 and started to add things to it. First it started to add tmax, then when we installed Ranger, it removed tmax and added Ranger. This is something what you really need to keep in mind. So whenever you are installing applications, you really need to pay attention that you need to restart the system. Otherwise, you're going to keep adding stuff to the snapshot. You forget about it. You're not paying attention. You're tired, or whatever the reason it is. You're going to end up losing data. So this can be fairly dangerous. Requires some getting used to. You will be fine. So this is the way of installing RPM packages. Now the thing with RPM packages is that it's eventually it's going to fatten up your system, and you really don't want to do that. You want a clean, lean system at your disposal. You don't want new updates to take 20 minutes and being robust and too big to roll back. Everything will take time. You really don't want that. What you want is to keep your system as clean and lean as humanly possible. So, but let's say that you still need applications. You still want to add applications to your system, because of course you do. It's not available through FlatHub. It's not available as a Flatpak at all. Well, then you have something from the system called Toolbox. Toolbox is, as I mentioned previously, it's a Podman wrapper. So if I say Toolbox, it's going to go ahead and essentially download the tumbleweed container, but it has some extras. So this is the Toolbox latest. So we're going to wait for the download to finish, and once that's done, we're going to install some applications. Till we're waiting for the container to be pulled down, I would like to point out one more thing. Okay, that is very interesting. So that is very, very interesting. Tukit. Okay. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. So little boo-boo. I'm going to leave it in because I'm too lazy to edit. So sudo tukit, it's not in the path. It's not going to find it. It's perfectly normal. In case you run into it, don't get scared. So yeah. So tukit has a pretty alright help, and I can just encourage you to install the man package as an RPM or inside Toolbox. It doesn't matter. Just have it at your disposal so you can look up commands on the run. So tukit, for example, has a really cool flag called continue. It will use the last given snapshot as a base. So what that means, in our previous example, when we were installing tmax, execute zypper in tmax, this image has this snapshot has been overwritten by our Ranger installation. So what I should have done instead is use the continue flag after the tmax installation was finished and install it this way, install Ranger this way. So this would mean that it's not going to use the original image as the base, the original snapshot as the base, but it's going to use that snapshot where we installed tmax, and it's going to add Ranger to it. It would have made the world of a difference. So Toolbox has been created just with this single command, and it threw me into a root level Toolbox, which is really not good for me. So I really don't want this. So I'm going to exit. And what am I going to do? First of all, I'm going to show you how this really looks like. It basically looks like this. It's a toolbox. Essentially, it runs with Podman. If you're not familiar with Podman, it's essentially the same thing like Docker from a user perspective. Of course, it works differently, and it has really cool features. But if you're familiar with Docker, you can pretty much just create an alias for Docker that points to Podman, and you will be good to go. Yes, that's how much it's interoperable. So I'm going to just remove this because, well, this is not what I want. I would like to have a user level toolbox. So what I'm going to do is use the U flag or the create flag. So I'm going to get started as a user. It's doing a couple of settings. So yes, it's not running. So how do I get in? So if I would have used the toolbox q command, it would have threw me in there. But in this case, I'm going to say toolbox enter. get me in there. And that's what it does. It's getting started, getting ready, and I'm good to go. So right now I'm in Toolbox. So how do I know that I'm in Toolbox? Well, because I'm running Tumbleweed, and on this system I definitely not running Tumbleweed. This is macOS. So we know that we are in a container, basically in a Tumbleweed container with Toolbox. So what's cool about Toolbox is that, for example, I can go to my documents inside the container. You can see that I'm in /home/editor/documents, and I'm going to say that, you know what, this is how we're going to do this. Hello world, and edit to a hello.txt document here. Okay, great. Well, hell, close enough. Yeah. Okay. So this has been created inside the container. So yet again, there is no magic here. We are inside a container. So traditionally, containers, if you create something in a container, once you restart it, it will be gone, right? So Toolbox has a really cool thing where it essentially attaches your entire home and you have access to pretty much everything. As you can see, right now I'm back on macOS, and that hell document is there. So if I get it out, there you have it. So basically what you do in this Toolbox container, in terms of file exchange and creating things and doing things, will pretty much take effect in your real world kind of scenario. So it will be available from macOS directly as well. So let's install. Did we end up installing Tmux here? No, great. So let's just refresh here everything, of course, and let's get Tmux installed. All right, that was relatively quick, and I'm going to install Tmux, which is awesome. Okay, and there we have it. So we have Tmux in here. However, we don't have Tmux out here because this is the macOS session. So how can we make this a bit simpler than what it is basically by using Toolbox. So what we're going to do is run, right, and Tmux. There you have it. So now this is running inside our Toolbox. So what I'm going to write here should also show up everywhere else. So this is essentially shortening all these problems. So if I exit and I attach, oh, probably not. The resource is busy. So basically, you would be able to run pretty much any kind of application from within Toolbox. Oh yeah, of course, the server exited. Okay, so I'm just going to come back in here, and I'm going to cheat a little, and I'm going to, hopefully if I don't forget it, put this in the description as well. But Dario provided with some of the dependencies and the pre-work that we would require to have available on the system, and basically we would be able to run graphical applications inside of Toolbox. This will take a bit, so I'm going to continue after this is done. And here we go. I also added this last comment. So other than installing the dependencies, there is this single comment where I assume we need to update cache. I have no idea what it does. Don't ask me. So what we're going to do next is installing Chromium. chromium-browser, I think, is the name of the package. I don't use it an awful lot. Yeah, so this will be a few more packages, so let's see how that goes. All right, let's see this. So I guess this should work. Fair enough. Thank you, Dario. So this is essentially Chromium, but within Toolbox. Of course, this will have some limitations. There are some caveats, like for example, you can't really screen share, because of course you can't. So if you have something what you would like to share, make sure that it's running from Toolbox. So another neat little trick for this is that I'm going to exit, going to come back here, and I'm going to run from here chromium-browser. So you could take this one-liner, couple words, and create a desktop file. So ideally, how would that look like is actually fairly simple. So basically how that would look like is that you go to your, I believe, let me cheat a little, you go to, yes, local share GNOME shell and applications. If it doesn't exist, you can just go ahead and create it. Okay, dear applications. I have a pretty bad track record for tonight. Hopefully I typed it correctly. Applications. And we're going to say vim, let's say toolbox app.desktop. So we're creating a desktop file essentially. So I already have this on my clipboard. So let's see. So first off, this is a desktop entry, an application as the type, the name of it. This can be pretty much anything, and what to execute. So here you can put there the full path, the toolbox, but in my experience you don't need it, and you can define an icon for it. So I'm using Nautilus because that's the only icon that I know how to identify by name. But of course, you can just look up the icon names and just start using those. So ideally, with this being done, we could potentially have an application if I didn't mix it up. Maybe I did. So essentially, it would be a pretty cool way to get it to run. I can possibly just noob around. Let me just log out and let's give it a go. Maybe that solves that. Probably not. Just going to check the name of the. Oh yeah, of course, I put it in the wrong place. Yeah, that's not gonna work like that. So actually, if we already arranged them, might as well. So it's a little bigger. I'm going to show all the hidden files. So where we put it is GNOME shell and applications. Yeah, that's not it. So is just local share applications. So come back here. I cut this out. Local share applications, and I'm going to paste it in here. So hopefully this time we have a little more success. Yep, sure enough, it's called Vivaldi and has the icon of Nautilus, and it's going to launch Chromium. Sounds about right. It does the magic. You probably get the point. So these videos are not about me being perfect. I'm not a YouTuber and I really don't care for this much. I just want to share knowledge, and this I found the fastest way to do so. So basically, you can see how this works, right? It doesn't require a lot of effort. The biggest effort what it would require is looking through the icon names, really. So what I'm going to do here, or not, actually, is edit this and set the terminal to false. So I only put it there, you know, as a failsafe to make sure that it works. And if it's not, then I have a debug interface, and I can have a good start on figuring out why it's not working. Although it's set to false, it's still launching in terminal. Oh well, thank you, GNOME. It is what it is. You get the idea. tukit, use it with care, pay attention, don't overwrite it. So if you need to install multiple application, it works just like with any other distros of openSUSE. Zypper in, and you just list out whatever you need to install. To keep your system clean, again, try not to install a whole bunch of applications. Try and keep it small and neat, and you know, just pay attention to these things. After installing updates, make sure that you reboot it. If you install new packages, make sure that you reboot it. Use Toolbox. It's a great tool. It keeps you safe. I think Dario went as far as running Wine in Toolbox, which is probably not supported. But basically you can do a lot of things in Toolbox. Get comfortable with Toolbox, understand how it works. If you're missing something, just ask questions. We are always happy to help out. So with that, this is covering the applications, the snapshotting mechanism, how to continue using tukit without rebooting, which is not recommended, but to be able to install additional applications in case you forget something with the continue flag, and just a quick hack to have a desktop launcher for your Toolbox running applications, or Toolbox run applications. So that's pretty much to it, and yeah, again, if you have any questions, hit us up on the mailing list or on the MicroOS or the openSUSE Telegram group. So yeah.